That again, it appears the mic wasn't working. Okay, I believe you can hear me now. Welcome once more. My name is Mazes, okay? And I welcome you to this Friday Street Parliament. Street Parliament is where we go to the streets, everyone, anywhere in the globe. We believe we all are somewhere. You come and you air your view on critical issues that concerns you and I. This evening, I will be looking at a critical issue that concerns many of us, especially those of us from Anambra State. As many of you may be aware, last week, no, not last week, 2 days ago, while on a national TV, in taking an interview with Sheun Okimbaloye, the governor of our dear state, Anambra State, the state we so much love, made some comments that have elicited some sort of um, reaction from everybody. Many of us have not spoken aside the first piece that I wrote the day that same evening. Aside that, for many of us who understand the issue at stake, that this issue is beyond 2022. And to understand that these are individuals, on a personal note, Mazes okay here, the two individuals in question are men, great men of Igbo extraction, people that I have so much and enormous respect, and I could not say that enough. You would understand the weighty of burden upon my shoulder to say and to stick to facts. As many of you who are subscribers to this platform know, I do nothing else, morning, day, night, to stick to facts. This evening, we will do as much as possible, irrespective on which side you are, whether you feel offended by those comments. Can we stick to facts? I am glad, actually, the way people have reacted, some emotionally, some tried staying to facts. This evening, I will endeavor as much as possible to stay on the path of fact. The comments made have actually prompted in the Anambra and maybe Nigerians in general to begin to ask, salient questions regarding issues surrounding the way and manner we are governed. For instance, should we not know the value of the investment made by our dear state? Would it hurt us to say that as of today, the investment that we have is valued as X at XYZ? If it's going to hurt us, is it going to hurt us to know exactly the value of what we have? Should we not do it on a yearly basis, or should we do it on a monthly basis? I do not know. This evening, we will collectively begin to probe and begin to question some of these things. I would start for the benefit of those who may not entirely understand what I'm talking about. I would assume that every one of us watching me tonight, you haven't heard, or you haven't seen, or you haven't read anything. Let us go back and start from the basics. And in starting from the basics, let me go and bring that part of the interview that borders on what we are going to discuss tonight. I know there are people already who belongs to many groups where we also belong to, who are already in the studio waiting to have their say. I do appreciate, I've seen Elder Isaac Likano and Ugo Beke. Many of you are already here. I appreciate that you've joined us. But allow me to please lay the foundation for this conversation tonight. And to do that, I would want to invite, again, as if they are here, Sheung and Professor Chukuma Charles Soludo, the executive governor of Anambra State, who wish to fondly be called Mr. Governor. Mr. Governor, I welcome you to Njenje Media TV.
Very known for investment. I mean, what's your own perspective in a government investing outside of public sector? Because, and I'm making another reference to former Governor Peter Obi of Anambra State, who has talked about how much of investment is made with the resources of the Anambra State government to bring back profit and benefit of to the Anambra people. By the way, what has become of that investment, and are you looking in that direction also?
Now, before the governor answers, let me give you a better perspective here. Anambra State, or rather the governor of Anambra State, made a budget presentation for the year 2023. And that budget was presented to the Anambra State House of Assembly in the region of over 200 billion, the first in history of that state, obviously. That is not the issue. The issue is, or rather the core message of this conversation with Sheung Okimbaloye was to tell Sheung and the Nigerians, especially in their number in particular, the content and details of that budget as it concerns them. Okay? This was as a result of budget presentation. Sheung, in this case, now talked about part of that budget that talked about investment. The question is, are you going to toe the line of the pattern and manner the previous government invested? For many of you who may not be paying attention, Peter Obi left office 9 years ago, right? It is then interesting that Sheung was not making reference to his predecessor who governed the last 8 years. It means when it comes to investment, there is nothing that anyone can pinpoint that has to do with the previous administration. Hence, Sheung going back, living a whole 8 years, 2 tenures, and now want to go back to someone who governed 9 years ago, or who left office 9 years ago. So that this context, if you have this context in mind, now this is how and what the governor of Anambra State then said.
I don't know why you are turning the interview about Peter Obi.
No, I'm just making reference because these are light men. Well, I made reference to former Governor Obi and not to.
Shehu, our interview is about my 2023 budget. Not talking about the investments of either any of my predecessors. By the way, the one that you talk about, I don't know about that. I mean, I think there was something I read about, somebody speculated about the value of whatever investment. What I've seen today, the value of those investments is worth next to nothing. So let's leave that aside. Let's focus on the kind of thing that first of all, you got to rebuild the public infrastructure. That is building for the future. We're investing in our schools. We're investing in our hospitals. We're investing in those. We're creating a number as Africa's leisure entertainment hub. That's what we are, modernizing our cities, and backing on our urban regeneration, giving our people life so that they can have quality air to breathe, controlling pollution, dealing with flooding, dealing with erosion that is ravaging everywhere, and so on and so forth. We're not going to leave those. I'm going to say I'm saving money to go and invest in one private company. And by the way, when you talk about investment, that's an area that I think I know one or two things, and I have been able to do that. We're now transforming Anambra State.
Okay, context here.
Perhaps because
Sorry. Context here. You've listened to Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, a man I have so much and enormous respect for him. I can't say that enough. His first statement was, I know nothing about those investments. And he started by saying slightly, again, I must note, slight condescendingly, saying that he read one or two things about those investments. People, this evening, I want you to be patient with me. Here is the handover note of Peter Obi to the former governor of Anambra State, Madabro Chukwuobiano. I make it bold. This handover note, you can see this here, Anambra State government, on the 17th of March, 2014, to His Excellency Chief Dr. William M. Obiano, Anambra State Governor, then Governor. In 2014, Anambra handover report. Now, it reads, because we need your patience here. I have the honor to forward herewith the handover report of my administration. I trust that you will find this report useful as a tool for consolidating and moving forward the administration and governance structure in Anambra State. As at Friday, 14th of March, 2014, as Friday, March 14th, 2014 was my final working day of my administration, I also forward herewith the summary of the full financial statement of Anambra, copies of which are herewith attached as the close of business on that day. And the summaries are as follows. 1. The investments that we are now being told that this is now zero. Local investment as of March, local. That means monies left in local currency. 27 billion. Foreign currency investment, 156 billion. $50 billion in Diamond Bank, $50 million in Diamond Bank, $50 million in Access Bank, and $56 million in Fidelity Bank. 3 banks in Nigeria. I think it is time. When I started, I said it is actually good that this thing is happening, because for many of us, it is a wake-up call that we must drive accountability and we must demand for more accountability. Here, if a man who left these monies as of that time, where's my calculator? Okay, can someone please, who is watching me now, do this math for, because I want us to get to how much exchange rate that was. Please, can someone watching me now do this maths for us? 26.5 billion divided by 156 million, please. That will give us the exchange rate used. Those who are living geniuses, who are living mathematicians, can you help us? Can we divide 26.5 billion, divide it by $156 million? That will give us the exchange rate with which this money, as of 14th of March 2014, that was the exchange rate then. While that is ongoing, I believe some of you will help me out now and do that. Can you please, once you've done that, can you post it in the comment section? Thank you very much for doing that. Now, certified state MDA's balance 28.165 billion. Federal government approved refund is 10 billion. Obviously, we know when Obiano came in, these refunds were paid. What was this refunds used for? Recall the famous, or rather the 6 lane that we have from Niger Bridge to into Onitsha. And there are other federal projects done under P2B. That's how this money, that's how these monies were, or rather, these monies came about. Now, we are not talking about the investments. These are the investments on this page. As of that time, the total net balance, because 5 million was for those who have, those contracts that were already approved. Total net balance was 86.6 billion. This was what was left. I then begin to wonder, people, if these monies were left in the account and in the coffers, or in the investment coffers of the Anambra State. Question that begs answer is very simple, people. Let's get to this. One, where is our investment? So Charles Chukwuma Soludo is now saying that these investments are what? Next to zero or next to nothing. Number one question, where is our investment? If these investments are worthless, was it lost or was it sold? Where is the return on investment or return on equity of these investments? Some are saying there could be element of witch hunt and jealousy here. I don't want to dwell in that realm. It is now time for us to start demanding for the status of our investment by demanding the records. I would then add that we must have lawyers in our midst to begin to do freedom of information and to demand that these must be written and signed. Could one then say that Soludo is talking because there was nothing in this way that Peter handed over to Obiano, that nothing like this was done, therefore he was not aware? Bear in mind, when I started, I say I will try as much as possible to stay on facts and not emotion. Again, then we'll ask, did our investment go wrong under Peter? If so, can we then know how much we lost? Many of you bought Bitcoin when it was $64,000. As of this evening, Bitcoin at some point went under 15,000. Does it mean that your Bitcoin is worth zero? I remember vividly under Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo as CBN governor, I bought First Bank shares. The first one about 48 naira per share. Eventually, I think there was an IDO or ICO, what it was called then, for 33 naira. Today, you can barely get 10% of the value of those shares. Would I then now say that my shares are worth next to nothing? Now, here are some pointers that we must take note of. Someone wrote and someone said that before P2B came into office, because Soludo talked about investing in, Sheung asked the question of investing in a government, or public infrastructure. But before we actually go further than that, when P2B took over, the then governor of Anambra State, now the minister of labor, were owing pensions, and gratuities. Nothing was paid. When he came in, he started by paying those off. There were no functional hospitals in Anambra. There were no functional hospitals in Anambra, we must say that. But the hospitals that we had and the school of nurses that we had were not accredited. But Peter Obi began investing in our health sector. Within a couple of years, 10 hospitals, government and mission owned, were all accredited, including nursing and midwifery schools. Brand new hospital was built. Is it called Amako? A world-class hospital was equipped for heart surgery. A doctor in the United States of America was involved with us who came down and these things were done. The question that many with inquisitive mind, and I'm asking Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, is, did Soludo not see this? And people are dying in the hospital, or were people dying in the hospital because P2B saved money? How come? Now we move further, we say that it is also interesting to note that Anambra State under P2B invested in Interfact Brewers. That's not the only investment. But for clarity purposes here, Interfact is today a multinational corporation. Initially, when that started, it was as a subsidiary of SAB Miller, SAB Miller. And the Ministry of Finance in Anambra State has 4.7% stake of AB InBev in Nigeria, which Soludo was referring to at Worthless. Of course, every one of us knows that. Like I said at the beginning, stock can go down in price, but it doesn't matter. Just like anyone with common sense who invests in, in the stock market, in the liquid assets, crypto and co, you know that the only time you actually lose money is when you sell. If Bitcoin you bought at 40, 50, 60, and you didn't, and it is $10,000, 5,000, 14 or 15,000 as the case may be today, as long as you haven't sold, you haven't lost money. It's only when you sell that you lose value. But understanding that investments are futuristic, therefore, as long as you're not selling, you're not losing any money. That clarification must be made. Now, question is, the total assets of AB InBev is about 372 million what? Sorry, 372 billion naira. Are these worthless? AB InBev, a multinational company, recall that Peter Obi said in one of his interviews that AB InBev takes 60% of its workforce from Anambra State. 60% of its workforce. Those are conditions of engagement. That means 60% of those who work in AB InBev are indigenous of Anambra State. They pay their payee tax in Anambra State. The company pays tax in Anambra State. When they get this money, they go home to their families and they feed their families with this money. Are these also worthless? I do not know. Now, these taxes, the people that they employ pay income taxes to the federal government year in, year out. A company that has added identity to the Southeast. Many of you who are here with us know that if you come to the Southeast today, you will see people, you will see brands as Liz Blaze, Zorro. Is it P Square? You see them. They make millions of naira engaging in this advert. You see sometimes the legend in the Nollywood industry in the name of Pete Edochie. You see them. You see Osofia and many of them. And these company has contributed to the entertainment industry in the Southeast, brand building. And these things are worthless. You begin to look at it. You move down to the industrial layout in Onitsha, located between the first and second Niger Bridge. I hope you know where that is. There, if you go back to this platform and watch the day I went to see the second Niger Bridge, you can see the industrial layout. I pointed it out. This industrial layout was part of the enhancement done by the then governor, where these things were built out, roads built for them. Now these companies are flourishing. The question is, do they not pay taxes? If they do, are their taxes worthless? Anambra receives about 268 million naira as their first payment of 13% derivation from the federal government. Have you ever heard of Orient Petroleum? One of the reasons why the airport was sited at Umueri was to help that facility in terms of jet fuel, refining jet fuel and co. But at least exploration is ongoing, and Anambra State is now receiving money. There is a lot to be said. Question then is, if investment within the last 8 years is bad and the value diminishes, is it as a result of global downturn, or is it as a result of those that have managed the economy in the last 8 years? Make of this statement what you wish. Professor Chukwumachao Soludo was one of those who were in President Buhari's economic team. And our economy is doing fantastically well. We are in no way, shape, or form losing any money. Now, question is, if we recall during the time of election, when Anambra State, you had Valentine Mozibo, Andy Uba, and Professor Chukwumachao Soludo, he had the following to say: be the judge.
8 as at last year, National Bureau of Statistics. Tell you for the records, Anambra State has the lowest unemployment of any state in Nigeria at 13%. National Bureau of Statistics, not Anambra State numbers. Anambra State has poverty rate declined from 53% under Peter Obi to 14.78 as at last year, National Bureau of Statistics.
53% when Peter Obi took over. 53%. National Bureau of Statistics. I am a very good virulence person when it comes to facts. You can use facts to create your virulence. Now, I want him to say that again because I like the sound bite of it. Can you say that again, Professor? Please say it again. Don't be
from 53% under Peter Obi to 14.78 as at last year, National Bureau of Statistics. Not our own numbers. Anambra State has the lowest underemployment rate at 17% of any state in Nigeria, National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay, and this is a state that invested nothing under Peter Obi, yet the magic was done. I don't want to talk about the educational sector. The educational sector, when Peter Obi took over from Ngige, In WAEC and NECO, Anambra State took the position of 26. 26. No, if no money was invested in education, if the monies invested in education are worthless, to the point that after a couple of years, Anambra State became number one, both in WAEC and NECO, the whole federation. Where else has such feat been done? It is worthless investment that propelled Anambra State from the 26th position to number one position in WAEC and NECO under the same man in question. You know, many of us took offense many years back when, during Obiano's second term, when he said that Anambra State was going to build an air metropolis for the price of $2 billion. The video is still on YouTube here. After watching that and after doing my background investigation, I came out, I said, that was fraud. And I stand by that. It's not something I say with ease. I was proven right. After a while, they then discovered that they've been scammed with the so-called partners who were to bring in the $2 billion. Anambra State's investment is worthless. Question is, Anambra built airport within a space of 3 years. No money, according to the governor of Anambra State. Former governor of Anambra State, Obiano. He said that no single kobo was borrowed from the federal government, was borrowed from the state. Many of us then asked, how did this money come about? In my digging, I found out how these monies came about. But some of my sources at that time said, I didn't tell you. You can't quote me. And you know, sometimes, because it is a protected source saying, don't quote me on this, but this is where this money came from, I kept quiet until the governor of Taraba State said the following. Now, I want us to pay attention to the words of this man, what he said when he met the former governor that handed over to to Professor Chukwuemeka Soludo. Here, the governor said the following, and be the judge.
And so, when I met the governor who had just finished his tenure, I asked him, I said, my dear brother, I had been longing to thank you immensely. You did something remarkably well. God bless you. He said, my brother, what is that? I said, the international airport you built in Oka. I said, I am exceedingly happy. He said, oh my God, I'm happy hearing from you. Then I added, I said, where did you get the money? He said, Biko, now my former colleague left the money behind.
Now, when this governor was saying this, not in 10 million years would he know that we will be in Anambra State, that a time will come where we will be asking, where is our money? Now, in the Anambra State, I call on all of us to stand up and say and ask the governor of our dear state, where is our money? If our money was sold, then we need to know how and who sold it and for what price. Peter Obi left $156 million in banks in Nigeria, and these are high-yielding interest investment and portfolios. Is it that when he left, we now have idiots to manage those portfolios? That those portfolios, suddenly, $156 million has gone to zero. Were they sold? If they were sold, we demand answers. Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, I know you may be watching, or your aides may be watching, but this, I am speaking to us this evening respectfully, that we must know. One of your greatest forte, Professor, is that you are a man of high intelligence. And you are good with numbers. You are an advocate of transparency. And I'll say to you, Prof, those things you keep as your watchword must now begin to be the things you implement. Tell us, how much is that investment now valued? If it is valued zero, we want to know how 156 million of state fund, $6 million, not naira. Can someone with a good calculator, please, what is the exchange rate of dollar today? 600, 650, 700? Let's take linear and let's do with 600. Can someone calculate $156 million by 600 naira? Please, can you put it in the comment section? Use your calculator. I'm not expected. Waski Henry says, Mazi, you stand vindicated because I've been following you for some years now. Okay. You know, I know many of you who called me names when I said that Anambra State Airport then was a fraud. And eventually it happened. You see, one thing with facts is, in journalistic terms, they say facts are sacred. You find it, you hold it there. When you take out emotion and you stay in the realm of facts, you hardly can make mistakes. These things, even today, the things I'm saying, I want to be held responsible for every single word that I utter this night. Because we must begin to ask questions, people. That is the only way we can have a better society. And if we classify ourselves as people of high intelligence, then we must begin to ask these questions, and we must ask these questions now. We must. We must ask these questions now, not tomorrow. How come no one knew about, when the state got over 300 and something million? I mean, are things being played down? Anambra State is another produce. Well, basically, its amount, it's peanuts. But do you know that while I was watching Sean, I made a note. Where is my note? I made a note here because something caught my attention. The governor said, okay, thank you very much. You see, that's why I like this place. You guys are so amazing, you see. So that money alone that Peter left, if that dollar was not sold, let's say that dollar equals Buhari's 150 cows. They wear condoms. They don't increase. They don't decrease. They don't die. They don't bump again. So let's say that this dollar is not yielding anything. It's worthless. It's not yielding anything. And it is locked for Anambra State. Today, that money will be 93.6 billion naira by doing nothing. And yet, we want to be told that these monies are, or this investment are worthless. If this investment was sold to finance the Anambra State International Cargo Airport, we want to know at what rate and how much of it was sold. Up till now, I have debunked, because I don't like it when people lie. I've read articles, I've read Twitter posts that I have, rejected. When people say Anambra State Airport costs $2 billion, I say it's a lie. Get your facts right, because that $2 billion was Air Metropolis that was to be built by the Chinese. But eventually, those people were Filipinos. That's where my first suspicion started. Digged into the company, there was no company. The company does not exist. Actually, they did us 419, but the rest is history. By the time the state realized that they've been 419, they went back to doing the airport themselves, which is good. But again, not even the airport that was done. A very fantastic runway, 3.5 kilometer with 1 kilometer rasa each way. However, the terminal is best, could be described in my last usage of that terminal as a bus terminal. That's what I would describe it as. But let's not dwell on that this evening, people. That's another conversation for another day. But the question is, where is our 93 billion? That is what should be making headline now. Because the governor of Anambra State has actually provoked us to saying, we thought we had money, oh, now we know we are broke. We should be asking tomorrow, Monday, where headline, this day, champion, guardian, where is Anambra State 96 billion? Let us start asking those questions. Where is the 93 billion of Anambra State money? That is $156 million. You see that? You begin to ask yourself, if this man here who met Obiano, the former governor, and said, how come in this hardship of Buhari, you were able to build an airport within the shortest possible time frame, record time in Nigeria? How did you raise the money? And the man said, if I want to reply in King James Version, what and how would that sound? But let me replay that again, because that section must sink into our skulls if we must insist that these monies that were invested are now zero investment.
I said the international airport you built. I said, I'm silly. He said, oh, God, I'm happy hearing it from you. Then I added, I said, where did you get the money? He said, Biko, now my former colleague left the money behind. I laughed. I said, he left it. He said, frankly speaking, he left money in foreign currency. It's the money I saw. I said, look, let me leave a legacy before we go. So I'm not promising. I won't leave money. I'm owing them here, and I'll use the money well.
Now, even there is one other thing that I need to point out before I bring others in to have their views. Even in this statement he just made, Soludo just told us 2 days ago that his wage bill is increasing because some people that are due for gratuities for many years have not been paid. Some pensioners are affected. So even when all these monies were converted, they were used, yet Soludo met nothing. Question that I then asked for my good governor and prof is, can you make to the public available a document like this given to you outlining this investment, or a document that now tells us these investments that we can see on the screen is no longer existing? What were the things that was handed over to you? Isn't it disingenuous that a chicken will not get angry with the knife that cut the head, but will be poisoned with the pot that cooked it? Someone handed over deficit, debt. Another left money and did great deal of investment both in infrastructure. Anambra State had the best road network in Nigeria as of that time. Best. Do you know what it means, people? Best road network in Nigeria as of that time. Yet, and we think, sometimes I don't understand certain things, but again, that might be me. Let me show us this if it may help drive my point home. Quickly, where is the video? Sorry. Now, is to show you when Peter has left, when this award was given. Just watch for yourself.
Under him, Anambra State was rated the least indebted state in Nigeria.
The least indebted state that didn't borrow, but was financially prudent. How can a man, you are watching me, you are a man, you make $1,000 a month and you spend $1,200. Oga, no be this leg, now I go take rich Omar. And you do not have any form of savings in case of any bumps. How? Go on.
The Debt Management Office. Anambra was adjudged by the Federal Ministry of Works the state with the best network of roads in the country, having asphalted over 800 kilometers of roads.
800 kilometers of road, and was adjudged the road with best network. Sorry, the state with best road network. You had it. Then you ask yourself, how was those roads? How were they done? Oh, maybe somebody went to the toilet and came out and used and plastered the roads. Maybe. How were they done? Those things were not investments. People, I have done my bit. The question that is left for us, then I'll now take all of us to begin to come in and say your view. But conditions for you to come in, please, you must have your camera on and you must be sitting upright. If you're lying down, if you're not putting on stuff, you will not be allowed in. Sorry, but that is the rule on this platform. Question that we then must ask Professor Chukwuma Soludo this evening is, can Professor then tell us what we are going to do now? Can he then tell us how soon we will get these demands that we've put forward? What is the ROI? What is the ROE? Do we have records of this investment? If these investments are worthless, how? Can we begin to demand and ask this question? Now, please, I beg of us, if you're joining me in the studio, there is one thing we would not allow you to do, to insult anyone on both sides. Can we put our emotions in check and stick with facts? On that note, I would invite, please, can you turn on your camera, guys, on the back room, so that if you turn on your camera, we can bring you on. If you turn on your camera, we can bring you on, please. Okay, so we have Ugochukwu here, please. Ugochukwu, you're welcome to Njenje Media TV, please.
Thank you, my brother.
So what's your contribution and where are you joining us from?
Okay, I'm joining from Atlanta, Georgia, United States.
Okay. Thank you very much. And
yeah,
we
thank
have
you.
Isaac Likano, please. So we have 4 people now. Seb Udaja, if you are able to turn, and Bitcoin, if you're able to turn your camera on, then we can bring you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, my brother. Honestly, I've been watching you all this while. I never had time to come in. I just, maybe when I come back from work, I'll look at the whole thing that happened during the day when I wasn't around. The way I'm seeing it, we don't know how to manage our power when power is given to us. Like Peter B always say, don't complain. You know all those things before you go into office. I was in on it when Peter B was governor. In fact, he was the only vote that I casted in my life in Nigeria. I was there. I was a businessman. Our business, we deal on stockfish. I voted him in and I followed him up. That man is extraordinary, honestly. I wish I would be as prudent as he is, because I know I'm not. That man did a lot of work. We used to have lands in Odekbe, but we couldn't go there because there's no road network. But that man, I mean, he did everything to make sure that we go there and we'll do our farming and we'll get our things out. Soludo is just, I don't know. God help him, honestly. God help him. I believe that he will come back and he will apologize. And I pray that all of us will forgive him when he apologizes, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Then Bitcoin, can you please, an exception here, can you please make your view known?
Thank you very much. I'd say hello to fellow panelists and those who are in the comment section. I believe that in your introduction, by the way, quite an awesome research that you did. The Taraba governor basically kills those who are insinuating all sorts of things from what Soludo and his shenanigans. But let me say that what he said, though, what Soludo said, wasn't that every single investment it's amount to nothing. I believe that he prefaced his remarks by saying the particular one that Sean was referring to.
Did Shehun refer to, and which one was Shehun referring to?
I believe that it is probably the investment like stocks or some sort of.
No. You're saying like. You see, the problem we have when we
exactly.
try to use English. So hold on. When we try to use English to translate English, it leads into problem. And that's exactly what you're trying to do. I can play the clip again for you. We all listen to that.
I'm talking about the particular when he made reference, he's not talking in general that all of their assets or the investment or their
what he is smart enough to have clarified that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Over 48 hours getting to 72 hours. If someone was if he was misunderstood, that was more than enough ample time for him to put up a statement, because he knows this is about a state and legacies.
Exactly.
Therefore, he has actually, maybe you and I have been sleeping. He has now spurred us to actually say, okay, hold on, people. Now tell us what is the value of our investments. Let us begin to ask that question. So go on and wrap it up so that I get someone else.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I'm trying to talk about here. Okay. The problem with I guess all Nigerian students should be schooled in all 25 examples of fallacy, because what Soludo has been doing lately is to get on TV and try to play on the intelligence of people who are not very educated, and it's very sad. Okay, I have to tell you, it's very sad to watch him try to play on people's intelligence. He was using the fallacy of trying to model up the achievements of Peter Obi, knowing that he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable, as all Igbos are in Nigeria, which means all you have to do is to find one thing. Doesn't matter how minuscule it is. Once you could poke a hole on Peter Obi on one thing, he's done. He has to be a saint. This conversation we're having today is typifies what I'm talking about. Should we even be wasting time trying to defend this? It's not ambiguous that Peter Obi is the best governor, perhaps in Nigeria's history. Okay, it's not ambiguous that at least he's a prudent governor. He's somebody who saves money, but also does the required things that need to be done, given the resources. Yeah, let me conclude by saying that we shouldn't let them have us distracted at this 24th hour. We should give just a paintbrush thing and say, okay, look, this is what happened. Just like the Taraba State governor has indemnified him from all this.
So in your view, we should all have kept quiet and do as if we didn't hear. You see, it took me over 48 hours before I could nothing stopped me on Thursday night to have done this stream, actually, but I restrained. And there is sometimes wisdom in not taking issues on when they happen. You take your time, allow your emotions to calm down, do more research, find out more information, and help yourself to stay on issues and not necessarily to allow your emotion to run amok. Thank you very much, brother. I like your point of view. So let me take Ugobeke, please. Ugobeke, 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. You know, Soludo has a history with Atiku. I think Atiku brought him into the Obasanjo government, and he played the same game when Atiku left PDP for APC. That is by using dubious numbers that actually, because Soludo is not the only intelligent person in Igbo land or Nigeria. We all are educated, you know, and actually as educated as himself. Being a professor doesn't mean you are smarter than the rest of us. It means that you actually got a job to teach. And probably you did some research that others are also doing. You know, so he used the same dubious number model that actually, I don't know where he gets his numbers, to actually destroy Jonathan for APC and Atiku, because Atiku left a year before. It's the same thing he's doing, he has done right now. And he has the same affiliation with Atiku. So it's important to actually understand what he's doing. And for a governor to say that he doesn't know about investment done in his state that is under his control. No, number one, that is dereliction of duty. That should get that individual fired, because it means that actually he has lost the number one job of being a governor. And that is actually take care of those things under your care. If there was investment, like you pointed out, okay, there was a company that these investments were tied to. And for how many years people have been paid, which is what we do here in the United States, that governments actually give tax incentives for companies to come and invest in their state, because they're going to pay tax and all kinds of stuff. And he's telling us that he understands one or two things about investments. I don't think he does. I think that guy actually is dubious in all he's done, and he talks too much. You know, so he looks like he has a history of talking too much, and he wants to actually tell us that he is smart when he is not, and we know he's not. You know, and he messed up as CBN governor. Sanusi did not blame him. Sanusi fixed the problems when Sanusi came in, and here he is trying to kind of, you know, all the things you pointed out. He said he has read it on or over the newspaper, or he doesn't know. You read it, you don't know about it, and yet you're saying it's worthless. Contradiction, contradicting himself in the same sentence and statements he was making about this. Oh, I don't even know about it. Well, something I read, and by the way, it is worthless. If you have read about it and you have not verified it, you cannot talk authoritatively about it. If you actually don't know about it, you can also not talk authoritatively about it. And if you do say you don't know, you just read up, you should have kept your mouth shut. So he's doing a hatchet job, but he's not going to succeed. Let us watch him. He made all these claims. This is a guy that Ohaneze gave a job to actually see how to integrate the entire Igbo. And for 4 years, he never came up with a report. Igbo, all the southeastern economy, he never came up with a report. I'm glad he got the job to actually govern Anambra State. Let us see the miracles. He said he has all this connection around the world to get all the money to build Anambra. Let us see him, unless he bankrupts Anambra with debt. He came in. How does a governor come in and you said, actually, even that your previous governor that handed over to you, you saw that the treasury empty. The same nonsense Buhari told Nigerians. When people are paying taxes every day,
hold on. But hold on. If he saw the treasury empty, just mere millions that, you know, a couple of millions that were in there, in a state where we were paying let me quote him right. I wrote it down somewhere. 137 million every month to clean the offices in Anambra State. 137 million under the previous government. Now he cut it down to 11 million. And you see, the same government houses are still being cleaned with 11 million. So multiply this by 137 by 11. It gives you, I think, about 1.62 billion. Then multiply that by 8 years. Jesus Christ, guys. That's cool numbers. Anyway, thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much. It's just we should actually stop taking the guy serious and just watch him build Anambra State. If he does build Anambra State, half what others have done, we'll clap for him. If he messes up and stays as Buhari, which is likely where he's going to, we hope Anambra doesn't allow him to get to that point. Then actually kind of, we judge him at that point. For now, the guy is a novice in government. He has not governed before. And actually, we don't even know he knows how to govern or politics. But Anambra gave him the mandate. Let's see what he does.
Thank you very much. Benedict Olomu, please unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, please.
Okay. It's quite amazing, honestly. Quite amazing. I'm so.
Hello? I thought it was me, Mazi.
No, Benedict. There are two there.
Benedict Olomu, that's me.
No, is another person. Okay, you see. Okay, guys, we have two Benedicts here. Okay, sorry. There is so who is the real one, and must we have a fake and real?
Benedict.
I'm Benedict.
No, Mazi, you said Benedict Olomo.
Yes.
Okay, okay, that shouldn't be me then.
Yeah, I said Benedict Olomo. Yes.
I'll go away now.
So
no, it's fine. Stay. It's not yet your turn, but stay. I thought as if INEC is trying to rig something here, and I'm wondering how can we get to that? Thank you. So go ahead, Olomo. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Very quick one. I think the idea that we should ignore what Soludo did, I don't think it to be a very good idea, because I don't think he made a mistake. What he did was deliberate, and it's deliberate propaganda. In trying to say that the investments were worth next to nothing, is just trying to demarket Peter Obi. It was a deliberate thing. And the reason why I said we should not overlook it is because I met my mechanic. My mechanic was saying something like this, and my mechanic was APC. And my mechanic is not educated. Definitely, it is a propaganda that is being driven underneath to demarket Peter Obi for people. So we should not ignore it at all. But what really annoyed me was in that interview with Sheung, there was a time he was not trying to even praise Obiano over Peter Obi, that Obiano set up Anambra Development 1-1 And because of that, that even that is even better than what Peter Obi did. Peter Obi is saying, I. So in addition to the propaganda part to demarket Peter Obi, I think he has probably a personal vendetta against Peter Obi, because from what I gathered, he said Peter Obi was supposed to hand over to him, but because Peter Obi was being fair in saying that he should go to Anambra North, so it became a problem for him. That's why Obiano had to come first. So I think it's two fronts. One, he's deliberately pushing a propaganda to demarket Peter Obi, so he should not be ignored. And on the other part, he's showing that vendetta to even bring a Peter Obi, an Obiano, and say Obiano set up a development commission, and so that is even better than Peter Obi, shows that he has personal vendetta. For me, I think that should be handled. I like that the matter is brought to the forefront, and these kind of videos that are even coming out. Imagine if common sense should tell you that if somebody left money, that person should be praised compared to somebody who did not leave money. But because of that personal vendetta, it's coming to even raise and praise an Obiano above Peter Obi and demarketing Peter Obi. For Christ's sake, this got to me, and I'm glad that we're talking about it. The video about Darius Ishaku is, in fact, it's a video that should be replayed and replayed and replayed again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for staying on time. And Joel, please. Unmute, please.
Okay. Hello, how you doing? Good evening, and good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. My first time on the show. But an ad-head fan of yours. It's an unfortunate situation that we find ourselves. Looking at Soludo and knowing full well that the foundation upon which Soludo is made a governor today, or the foundation upon which the Obiano, or even Obiano was made governor, was the foundation laid by Peter Obi. It's unfortunate that in the Southeast that we are doing this to ourselves. I'm looking at it from a bigger picture. What kind of leaders do we have in the Southeast? Yes, someone can tell me, yeah, that we are being marginalized, but at the same time, we have received allocation from the federal government. What kind of leaders? Is it not about time that we sack all these leaders in the Southeast? I do not care which one you're talking about. Are we talking about the Epremados? All of them. Look at Ibazo following Wike like a small boy. A man that it took him almost 7 years to build a bridge. And you are following someone that is building bridge almost one per month. You enter inside private jet. These are the kind of leaders we have in the Southeast. Is it that he does not get allocation? He does get allocation. What Peter Obi has shown to all of us is that prudence. And that's the reason why I am not supporting the APC or the PDP candidate, because the people around them will determine how they will administer the funds of the people. You cannot expect a Jagaban to get in there and they will stop all this lavish lifestyle. Or you expect Dino that is talking. You think Dino is going there? Dino is trying to upgrade his rights. We know all these people. So the issue right now is this. Soludo came up with this idea that I don't want to talk about Peter Obi. Then went ahead to say, talk nonsense. May God save him that he performs in Anambra State.
Thank you.
May God save him that he performs in Anambra State, because we're not going to take it lightly. He's going to be a one-time governor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I believe you're from Anambra State. Now, there is something there is something that I noticed, and that I know I'm going to call on the next person to speak, Mazo Koye. But before I do, I noticed something that in that interview, he had an option of saying he doesn't want to comment on it, the same way he avoided commenting on the CBN issue, right? He had that option, but he chose otherwise. And the question is, could he have, in answering that, do you think it would have been better if he had said, well, I do not have the full details of those investments, it's something that, because it's the way he said it. If you remove, like someone said, vendetta, if you really look deeper, it is, in my view, an indictment on the person that handed over to him. It means those investments were not handed over properly, the same way the ones we have seen now were handed over and outlined. Because if they were handed over properly, and he now makes such comments, then we now know that there is more that we can see that meets the eye. H.T. Mokoye,
yes,
you're welcome to this platform.
Thank you, Mazi. Good evening, everyone. I think to me, what get to me with the whole interview with Soludo, first of all, I think Soludo is somebody that I respect, because I see him as someone that speaks the truth, But with that interview, it sort of come across to me as someone that is quite dismissive of of the whole investment.
Others' achievement.
Others' achievement, yeah. It comes up very dismissive, and as if he's irritated with the question, and without actually going into details of how the investment is worthless, like he portrayed it. Because he, being an economist, should know that investments can go up or down. Investments are risks. So even if the investment is worth nothing, you shouldn't be dismissive of it like that. We're talking about huge sums of money here, that P2B left in the coffers of Anambra State. And for him to summarily dismiss it as if the guy did the wrong thing, to me is really, really what really pissed me off, because he shouldn't be doing that. That is that is unbecoming of anybody, nonetheless a governor of a state, because you should have given context to the question. Like you said, you know, he pretended at first that he didn't want to take that question. Instead of him moving on, then he goes a roundabout way to, you know, like a sort of a dig at Peter Obi. Oh, that investment, I read something there somewhere. You know, that sort of talk as if he's talking to little children. At least I didn't, if you wanted to talk about it in the first place, would have said, okay, yes, Peter Obi, as a fact, left so and so amount of money, but what happened to that money now? I don't know. It's now worth so and so. As simple as that. Everybody would understand it. Not someone really dismiss it and say, oh, that investment, I know a thing or two about the economist as well, about the investment as well. As if there is antagonism, as if there is a competition between him and Peter Obi, which there is none. You know, there is none. So to me, that is what really gets to me. Not really the whether the investment is worth nothing or not, because investment can worth nothing. That is not Peter Obi's fault if investment is worth nothing at the time. Mas, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Okay. Am I audible now?
Now you are.
Yeah. Now maybe many of us do not know some of the things some of us know. Now, I put it this way. In line with what you said, it's something that came to many as a shock, because recall that there wasn't too much love left between Peter Obi and his successor, right? So the relationship was a little bit rusty. But when Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo came in, there appeared to be a renewal of engagement as a former governor. Two incidents stood out. One, when Soludo was sworn in, you saw him, he attended.
Yeah.
You know, when the slapping galore, you know, happened.
Happened, yeah.
And the other was when he declared for the president of you know, to run for the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. That was done for the first time in the government lodge in Oka.
Yeah.
Where the traditional rulers gathered, and he went there to address them. Now, for many, you would think, okay, he's good. This is a man who hasn't been to this government house for the last 8 years since he left. He's basically had nothing that ever brought him back there. But suddenly, you know, there is this rapport. He's coming back, and you know, and suddenly, boom, kaboom. You hear something like this, you begin to think, where did this come from? I will take Seb Owa Udaja. He's been here for long. Seb, unmute.
Did you say Seb Owa? Seb Nwa Udaja. Seba Nwa Udaja.
I need to go to spec servers.
Yes, it is Seba Nwa Udaja. It's not only Charlie Nwambafo. There is Seba Nwa Udaja. You understand?
Seba Nwa Udaja. Because okay, here's Seba Nese.
Seb, yeah. My brothers, first of all, thank you, Mazezoke, for requesting that we all cool down our tempers when we are talking. Otherwise, there will be a lot of fracas here. People are offended, deeply offended, me included. But let's start. I will start by requesting again that we give our governor benefit of the doubt. You know the amount of goodwill we showed to Soludo.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented. People took all the risks. There were a lot of risks, a lot of troubles in the land, but people went out to vote him in. That is a huge show of goodwill. So it's painful if we just waste that goodwill because of his mistake. Having said that, let me look at one of the issues that Shehu pushed. You see, I'm putting the blame on the journalist now. Shehu pushed our governor to fumble.
No,
The
I
governor.
disagree.
No. Just allow me.
That is true.
No, please, can we all be muted, please?
So,
go ahead.
He asked and asked, and then our governor said, "Why are you asking me of my predecessor? Which template? It's not a P2B template that we are talking about here. We are talking about Soludo template." Okay. So then later our governor went on to list the activities he's doing. And I took a little time to look at these activities to find out to whose template do those activities belong. Let me just give you a little show. Our governor said he's cutting down on cost of governance. For example, reduction in cost of cleaning from 11 million from where he said 126 million per month.
136.
Yes. So whose template is it about reduction of cost of governance? That is P2B's template. He's the first governor who introduced it to Anambra State. Our governor said he's using inherited furniture instead of buying new ones. Whose template was that? That is P2B's template. Sorry, because it's P2B who told us how he repaired the furniture and he dusted the table, the governor's table, instead of buying a new one. That is P2B's template, not Soludo's template. He went on to say he hasn't bought even a bicycle for the office of the first lady for his wife. Whose template is that? It is P2B's template, who first introduced saving and stopping extravagance on the office of first ladies. Now, our dear governor Soludo said he's investing in our schools. Now, whose template was that? I don't need to say that. We all know how. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Can you run up, please?
That is P2B's template. It's important that I list all these things. Now, he said Anambra is the first as Africa's leisure hub. Yeah, he's transforming Anambra as Africa's leisure hub. Okay, P2B didn't do that. This is Soludo's template. Very good. We are happy.
No. P2B supported Rogeni Tourist Village, Oba.
Okay. Okay. So it's also P2B template. Now, modernizing our cities, he says he's doing, okay? He's modernizing our cities. I will give it to Soludo as a template. Do we?
Well, again, P2B was the first person that did the first digitalization, the UN habitat. Again,
Jesus Christ. I want to remove the few that are on Soludo's template. Now, controlling pollution.
I'm not. You see, the problem with me is I actually have no side, but I always want to stick with facts. And if the facts hurt you,
okay, you know more facts than me, so I agree with you. Now he said he's dealing with flooding. That is P2B's template. He dealt with flooding and erosion. Dealing with erosion is P2B's template. Then he mentioned ANSIPA, the institutionalizing investment. Yeah, and he said he is continuing from his predecessor Obiano to institutionalize investment instead of investing in private companies. He said it with some demeaning, tone. That's to say, P2B invested in private company, but he is institutionalizing investment. Okay, that is Obiano Soludo template. Very good. Now, from all these things I've listed, we find out that almost all of them, minus two, are templates that were started by P2B. Now, the point is that there is no way you can wish away facts. These are facts. And why is it that our dear governor of today is forced to continue on P2B's template? The reason is that P2B used the United Nations Development goals as his basis from where he develop Anambra development program. So anybody that wants to develop Anambra must use those templates. And as we are using those templates, we simply have to be humble enough to give honor to whom it is due. So I believe that our dear governor really shot himself on the legs. Now, as part of giving benefit of the doubt
Can you
to
round up?
him,
Let's take more people, please.
yes, I'm rounding up now. As part of giving benefit of the doubt to him, it could be that Governor Obiano did not want to keep those investments and he sold off. He sold off all the shares and took back all the deposits in the banks. It is possible.
No, you see, I thank you
we
very
need
much for
to
your
ask
contribution.
questions.
Yes, Seb, hold on. Thank you very much for your contributions. I think here, I have no issues that if those investments were sold, all we are demanding is tell us which date, what were the values. Then we now know they are no longer there. We no longer want to hold on to anything. But to tell us that it's worthless without telling us what happened to it, no, now, Abba, no be like that. Let me take a comrade Delia Jufo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me audience.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mazi, you know, it's almost past my bedtime. Old people go to bed very early. You kept me waiting. And for that reason,
I kept
when
you
I see you
waiting
next time,
for the love of our neighbor.
For the next time when I see you, it's one goat and one bag of coin. You know what they do with traditional people.
Thank you. That's what you give me. Please add one keg of up wine. I will like it.
Thank you very much. I stood up for this because it's very important, and I'm getting concerned about things emanating from Anambra. I'm not from Anambra, you know that yourself. I'm from the Sunambog, Ibuzo, in Delta State. And anything that concerns Ndibo concerns me. And what is emanating from Anambra State is not good at all. When P2B left ABGA, I'm sure we know the acrimony that engulfed or ensued then after. About a month ago, the Lord of ABGA, who calls himself the chairman, Victor Oye, banged the table and said, Aga Aga, he's not going anywhere. P2B is not going anywhere. I'm repeating him. So there's acrimony, there's anger. Please, ladies and gentlemen, there's more angst coming out about P2B from ABGA. If we read what Okonjo-Iweala said about, shall I read it? Do you mind? Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, there is definitely, oh dear, where is it? There is definitely an issue of character with Professor Soludo and his desperate search for power and relevance in Nigeria. Nigerians should therefore beware of so-called intellectuals without character and wisdom, because this combination is fatal. I think I'll rest the case there. We must be careful how we treat this matter. Soludo, we are sending a delegation to Soludo, eminent Igbo men in Nigeria, to stop his attack on Obi. And it will stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to hear that.
That is the word of the elders. So let's get people who haven't spoken. Let's get Bennett. Bennett, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm happy that this forum is going on and we are sharing views and understanding. It's amazing what is happening. First of all, I want to go from this perspective. When you look at Lagos State and you see the way the people that came after Tinubu aligned, none of them has ever questioned the claims that Tinubu was the one that gave the blueprint. Blueprint is not that he did anything. When you look at Tinubu's era, he never built one bridge. He did nothing. All they say is just he gave the blueprint.
Yeah, but he discovered Lagos now. He's the Mongo Park of Lagos.
Yes, Mongo Park. So looking at P2B went beyond that. He led by examples. And it is amazing. One thing I want to point out that I from that interview with Sheung, one thing I saw that were in play: envy, pride, arrogance, and the third factor, your price, your worth. They say every man has got a price. The price is not what is given to that man. The price is what that person is having inherent in himself that will make him accept what is given to him. If somebody is offering you 200,000, it's not because 200,000 is the price. It's because what it's in you is worth 200,000. So this envy, pride, and arrogance led to what I am seeing, that Soludo is compromised. He has compromised because for him not to accept.
Okay, hold on. Let's not speak in parables. Let's speak in clear terms.
Okay,
How has he
he's compromised in the sense that he's compromised. Apart from the fact that I mentioned all these things, these are the things that are factors that led him to accepting that he's compromised with. He has an unholy matrimony now with certain set of people that are influencing his actions right now. When you look at him in all those things he was saying, he was not being himself. When you look at that, everybody is so disappointed because this is not what you expect of a Soludo that everybody supported and brought to government. He has been compromised. Is it on on partisan basis? Might be. But for him to come out, somebody that even on Arise TV, they were like, I watched Arise TV Day because they brought up that. They were saying, that Rufai said that he came to their studio and claimed that Obiano left debt for him. He has been praising Obiano. All what we've seen now is that he has spoken more positively of Obiano than Peter Obi, who he has directly nothing to do with. The person he should be talking about is Obiano, not Peter Obi. Because if he has to talk about Peter Obi, that video you played of him talking about, those are the things he's supposed to be talking about Peter Obi. Saying that he left nothing, you see that there is a deliberate act from his side to downplay Peter Obi. It was deliberate. It was not something that just a flip. No, something is wrong somewhere. And this is what I believe. See, I'm not surprised. If you know the task ahead of Peter Obi said, one word Peter Obi said that made me understood that this man knows what is ahead of him. He said, God, if I cannot accomplish the things I am saying to attain this post, please don't let me get to that post. That prayer is the same prayer that Christ said in the garden, said, God, if it is possible, take this off my chest. Because Peter Obi understood the consequence, what he's going into. It's beyond human. Soludo is acting human. He doesn't know what is going on. So in saying, talking about money, what he left, it is clear. When I went to search, I never knew much about Peter Obi. I never knew much about, but when I put in Peter Obi in YouTube, projects, videos, documentaries came in of what he did. So is Soludo telling me that he's blind to all those? He never saw it.
Schools to the original.
I saw it. I never knew. Soludo is India in the country. He is part of the government. He knows everything. He doesn't need to see the documentary. So I have no doubt there is no way they can do all what they want to do. Somebody came up when Peter Obi talked about the things he did for the schools. I was in one of the platforms. Students came out and said, yes, I was there. He came to our school. These are live testimonies. So whatever they are trying to do to deter him and whatever, it's beyond them. It's beyond them. So I would like to raise, I'm just disappointed in the person of Soludo that he can descend so low that, I mean, no, I don't know, whatever they gave to, whatever pride, the pride of your countryman, your statesman, his achievement, you want to bury it. And at the same time, you want people to talk about what you do, because you are doing exactly the same thing. That template Sean talked about is the template he's working on. All he needs to do, yes, I am building on that template. But he denied, just like Peter denied Jesus Christ. He denied. He denied that he never knew. He doesn't know anything about, if there was anything about Peter.
Thank you very much, Bennett, so that we allow others in. But before we do,
thank you so much. I'll mute myself.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's before we do that, let me quickly do this. Please, if you're watching us, can you do us a favor? There is this shadow banning happening on YouTube and especially on Facebook and on Facebook as well. Can you please take a moment? If you haven't subscribed to this platform, please subscribe. If you haven't shared this video, can you please share so that we can let others know that we are having this conversation? For those who may wish to join us, please share, subscribe, and like. Please don't forget, like. We have, honestly, not so many people, just like a video that we have close to 1,000 people or over 1,000 people across the platforms watching, and we have only on YouTube 886, and we have only 88 people. Come on, that's even less than 10%. Anyway, but please do, by all means. Now, let's for those that joined us late, we started by actually analyzing a couple of videos and documents. For those who say, where is the video they can watch? When this stream finishes, you can go back from the beginning and you can watch. But there is something I want to show us for those who joined late. If you listen to this, this is an investment made by this man while he was the governor that led to him to be accorded these recommendations and awards, or whatever you call it.
Anambra State was rated the least indebted state in Nigeria by the Debt Management Office. Anambra was adjudged by the Federal Ministry of Works the state with the best network of roads in the country, having asphalted over 800 kilometers of roads. He reopened long-closed schools and returned missionary schools to the original owners with a grant of 6 billion naira for their rehabilitation, distributing over 30,000 computers, internet across the academy to 500 schools. Anambra State students, for the first time, achieved first place nationwide in the 2013 WAEC and NECO Common Entrance examinations.
Okay. So
provided 700 buses to secondary schools in the state and provided boreholes to over 300 schools. He also built classroom blocks in all the 177 communities in the state. He ensured the payment of over 35 billion naira in outstanding pensions and gratuities in the state since 1999. Before he became governor, no single health institution was accredited in the state. But under his administration, 10 schools of nursing, midwifery, and medical technology as well as 2 hospitals were accredited. Mr. Peter Obi stands for justice and fairness and was the first Nigerian governor to reclaim his governorship mandate after 3 years in the court, giving confidence to others to pursue their stolen mandates. He's also the first governor in Anambra State to serve for 2 terms since democratic rule in 1979.
So these were the things that were railed out in terms of achievement. And these things cannot be done if you're, 1, not focused, 2, if you're not investing, and 3, if you're not consistent. In 2013, having consistently invested in education, that many people were questioning what in the name of madness he was doing. I recall, without boring us, but I may wish to show us this. That's actually, for many people, that's how our path crossed. When in 2007, after writing several letters of complaints to the governor of Anambra State then, in the person of Chris Nwabezengige, we went in to rebuild myself, to rebuild this school. And when he heard that people came in to rebuild public schools, he was marveled and asked, who were those doing this? And when he was told, he asked, okay, how do we get involved and commission this school? Let's just have a listen. The beginning of this is slightly funny because my good friend, Sebastian, in this case, actually tried speaking Igbo, which I taught him. But aside that, I hope we make this easy.
Told him I got the contact to meet the governor and told him without him, the governor perhaps would have been able to do. I want to thank all the Royal Highness for being here today. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, and may I share one thing that is different today? May I invite Your Excellency, Mazi Sebastian Menz, to give his address. Sebastian, step forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse my terrible German accent. I'm trying to say some words in legal language now. Evil win. Yeah. Even if it's win. Yeah. I want that win. Yeah. I'm not win. Yeah. Nigeria. Ezigbo onye ndụ nke ndị Igbo nakwa nke ndị Nigeria. Ọ bụ site n'ike ya ka anyị nụrụ ya n'ụbọchị taa.
Now, the reason why I want to play back, the reason why I play back this, for many of us, I will share the the full link of this video. The video is on YouTube, uploaded since 2007. 2007 now, how many years ago? I think about 15 years ago. So for those of you who do not know, that's also how long we've been on this journey and in this trajectory. So uploaded about 15 years ago. And the link that I want to drive from here is, if you go to that video, which has been shared in the comment section, you will realize that what brought myself, my German good friends that we've then lived in Germany, who flew down from Germany to come and do this school, was the love and the passion for education. And here, as a sitting governor, I've never met him then, just read about him that he won his case. hears that people are building school, public school. He comes in to understand what are you, how are you guys, what is the drive behind this thing you guys are doing? Finds out it's actually not that, expensive to do this in public school. Today, before he left, every single community in their state had that same template that you saw in Ezinifite then that we did replicated. He, pushed in billions, both through UBEC counterpart funding projects, for projects. He pushed in so much money in order to get this going. And when you then hear that people are announcing these are, by means of kind of saying, inadvertently means that those investments amounts to nothing. Yet, over 300 computer, is it 300,000 computers or whatever, was bought, and schools, boreholes, buses. Innocent today, if you sit down with Innocent Chukwuma, he will tell you that Peter Obi made him what he is. Peter Obi didn't give him money, but Peter Obi helped him and asked him. Before Peter Obi bought those buses from him, he never produced buses. He said to him, "Are you able to produce this?" He said, "Yes." "Okay, fine. Let's produce the trucks for the vigilantes. Can you produce SUVs?" He said, "Why not? If we have the resources." He paid him upfront, produce SUV, which was shared to 177 community, or rather the historical highnesses in the state. And these are investments that you can touch, you can feel, you can smell. On that note, I bring in Fidelis Obi. Fidelis, after you, then we'll have a Walter Uven. Fidelis, go ahead.
Mazi, thank you very much for giving me the audience. And hi there to my fellow panelists and concerned Nigerians like I am. Welcome all of you. Mazi, there's a brother here who spoke earlier in the name of Benedict Oluomo or something. He hit the nail squarely on the head, in my view. Because I live in a country where, in the UK here, we are surrounded by psychologists with different kind of people who, sometimes you will show them some things to ask their opinion and stuff. People who have watched Soludo's interview, they describe his body language as someone who is very, very upset in hearing the name Peter Obi. He's someone who has been keeping grudges for a very long time. He's someone who is just not happy with the man. They say his body language was extremely dismissive. Like a brother here also said that journalists pushed him and this and that. Journalists you are not a wheelbarrow. Even wheelbarrow have brake that you can be pushed to say, to say things that are just not what you like to say. If you are asked a question, they ask him about his predecessor in the Reserve Bank of Nigeria, Central Bank. He avoided the question. He was asked repeatedly. He avoided the question. But when he heard the name Peter Obi, his dismissiveness was too extreme. Why I took those videos, why I took that interview to some friends who I work closely with to look at it was like, when they look at it, they say the man even spoke more aggressively, more than APC people. He was more aggressive than APC when he heard the name Peter Obi. So that would tell you that there is something deep that he has been keeping. Even they compare him to Donald Trump, who never forgets. Who at every opportunity he will cut you to pieces. That's exactly what Soludo did. And my friends were telling me, the mood of Nigeria is justice, to make sure that everybody come into that circle called Nigeria, that the East has to be given a space to represent the country at the center. Why are you guys being the ones that are trying to remove your eyes with your own hands? Why have you guys have always been your own problem? But and then after telling me that, some of them tell me, but the truth of the matter is, languages like this even doesn't discourage people. Even make, because P2B's resume, P2B's profile is, we live in the 21st century where information is very easy to access. His whatever he has done is there. And secondly, if whatever P2B did in Anambra State, there was no continuity, it's none of his fault. P2B did not hand over to Soludo, he handed over to Obiano. It is after 8 years, another person comes in, and was that so brutal, like just like, you know, in the flick of a finger. So I don't know. If somebody tell me that Soludo has been compromised, I will not argue. I will not argue. But whoever knows him or whoever speaks with him,
compromised in what sense?
To undermine P2B. Because they have searched through all ways, they don't see anything, any debt on him. They believe someone coming from his place will be able to do the job for them.
But the question was prompted by Sheun. That's one thing we have to, you know, realize. So,
Mazi, you are I can use the word journalist. I can call you a journalist. Mazi, you can't push me into fire.
Exactly. So now, why do you then? Because if it was a conspiracy, that means Sheun is in the know. But Sheun did his job, because listen, if you're sitting on this seat and you interview people, at every slightest opportunity, you want to extract your pound of flesh and ask as many questions as possible. The ones that, you know, you don't set boundaries. It's for the individual to say, okay, I don't want to answer this, I don't want to answer the other one. So, you know, can he draw boundaries? Yes, because he drew boundaries when he came to the polymer and you know, the new Naira notes. He drew his boundary. And if even some people then argued that he showed a sense of arrogance by when he drew the line saying, I'm not going to talk about this, then he went back to say, by the way, I was the first person that actually changed these currencies into polymer. I mean, that's, you know, it's neither here nor there. Thank you very much. So we get more people in. Walter.
Mazi, just 1 second. Let me wrap up, please. Just a second. Okay. Mazi, have you watched a CNN journalist interviewing Erdogan, the Turkish president?
Turkish, yeah.
So Erdogan was asked a question about the Kurdish issue and stuff. Erdogan run around. Becky Anderson said, I will push you further. That's a journalist. She wanted, there are some things she wanted to hear. She pushed Erdogan. Erdogan stood his ground. And then we also watched, what is his name? The APC spokesman, the one that said he's senior advocate of Nigeria, I forgot his name. When he was being asked about Tinubu's destiny, he even belittled Sheun. He said, let me lecture you. You know, take your pen and paper, let me, like you are in a classroom, that's belittling. But because he was asked questions that he didn't like. But Shegu persisted, because that is the job of a journalist. So it is for you, the speaker or the invitee, to know what to say. Soludo played the role of a spoiler. That is the observation. Everybody, because I don't say things because P2B, I support him and this and that. P2B, if there is a dead bone in the graveyard that politicians in Nigeria will go and bring out against P2B, they will do it. They have done everything. They didn't see anything that is substantial. So Soludo can be a good representative because he is in the seat where P2B used to be. So to me, I would not be saying there is a conspiracy and this and that. It is obvious.
Okay.
Your own brother, this is his brother, for crying out loud. Because P2B decamped from ABGA to PDP, and even PDP people are still angry. Reno Mokri is here saying all kinds of things because P2B left PDP. Soludo, because Soludo is supposed to be the governor of Anambra State before Obiano, but it didn't happen. Maybe that grudge is still with him.
Well, again, thank you very much. Walter, please.
Good morning, Mazi. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Good morning, fellow panelists. I will just have little words to say. I want to believe the Prof. Soludo was never compromised. And it wasn't pushed, according to somebody here, to fumble. Soludo just expressed his bitterness, not what long ago he sees Obi as somebody who is a competitor, is competing with Obi, knowing fully well that the presidency is coming to the east now, NEPA. And he's been threatened. The light has gone. NEPA.
Yeah, it's fine, but your
He's been
telephone
threatened.
is still on.
He's been threatened that if Peter Obi becomes the president from the southeast zone, for him to become a president, I don't think that dream is even come close again. So it's like overambition made him said all those things, trying to defame Obi. He just exposed his bitterness, anger, envy over Obi. Obi never knew that somebody in his own zone have such a dubious dream about him. So Soludo knows everything, even more than us, based on the office he held. When they asked him about the CBN, he never wanted to talk anything. But when they talk about Obi, he was so quick to bring things. And thank God, the more you try to bury Obi's achievement, the more the glory shine on him. Because of this Soludo interview, now I have 3 friends who have done extra mile trying to know more about Obi because they are APC people. They say, yes, the one just called me that, see your Obi, see what somebody said. Charles Soludo, CBN former boss. I said, go and check, go and verify. One came to me that, this Obi has nothing to hide. Otherwise, they would have, if own people would have brought him down. So I'm so happy, Mazi, you are doing this, trying to enlighten people, because people we trusted, people we look up to, we call them professors, we call them senior son. They are feeding us with so wrong information because of their ambitions. But Soludo just done to himself what he will ever regret. I'm an Urobo man from Delta State, Warri to be precise, far from the east. But if you see truth, say it, own it. Soludo has an ambition, so let nobody believe that he has been compromised. No, it's nothing an ambition to become the first president from this East Zone. Now he's being threatened by Obi's achievement and Obi's first to become the president. And if Obi becomes the president, by God's grace, Soludo can never be president, because for him to come to the Southeast Zone again, it will take almost 48 years.
Thank you very much.
But so I just want to say that it's not being compromised. It's just being overambitious. And they said overambitions killed Macbeth. Soludo just dug his grave and we bury himself there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know some of you want to say something, but please, as a means of equity here, so that we do not marginalize some people, we must give first. Those that haven't spoken, that have joined us, they must speak first. If Comrade Chid is there, we can only see his camera. If not, we'll take him out. If Comrade Chid is there, can you please speak now?
I greet you, everybody. Yeah, and I've been on the waiting side because I don't really know what is going on. I know you, Master Izuki, I've been following you, but when I spotted this, I felt like I would have to see if I can make an impact. Well, I don't really have much to say. I'm Comrade Chidi, and I'm speaking from Texas. However, I don't want to overflow this issue, and I don't think I have much content when it comes to my dispositions. What bothers me is the fact that there was a governor who had 8 years. And when I watched the clip, I saw how he bypassed Obiano and went straight to. By the way, he said he wouldn't want that wasn't the reason why he was there. However, he came back, and I was wondering why bypassing is a transition. Why bypassing Obiano to talk about Obi, and eventually, of course, you know what was the result. So, Soludo is a man I think I have respect for. You know, like I stood for him even while he was conversing. So, because I see him as an intelligentsia, he speaks my mind most times. He had his records there, but I also think he went too low. So, I don't know what happens at the back end. I don't really know what their grouses are. I don't know what happened when it happened. I don't know exactly what was going on. It is what I see. I make my judgment based on what is being displayed. But I would rather plead because this is an electionary era. I wouldn't want us to be. I know I love what you're doing, Mazezuke, and is you know we're trying to conscientize people and you know have people you know process this and not be you know, led on the mistaken what is going on. However, you know, this is electionary period. I don't want, because it could also be a gimmicks to divert attention while other things happen. So let's not, you know, navigate all our energy trying to process this. What he did is condemnable. And because of that, you know, I can say I have a strong reservation about his personality. I'm taking my time. It's not like I'm not trying to absorb Obi. Even before I became obedient, I tendered my reservations based on one or two things. But when I further made my research, I find out that, by the way, it looks like it looks like I don't have much content. You know, it's like I'm getting it all wrong. And I went further to, I went to do more research, and I find out that I was all wrong. And I came out. I brought myself out. I was in the forefront, even within the area I live. You know, I pushed further. You know, I have done a lot of conscientization. When he came here, all of us were there, and we had rapports together. But what I want to say
can you quickly round up, please?
My point here is let's not overflog this issue. You know, it is going all over. We're debating it, and you know, everybody is now. You know, we cannot see what is going on.
If we don't flog it, what should we be doing? Should we?
So what I'm saying is, my point. I'm not saying we should not flog it. We should flog it, but let's not overflog it. And the reason why I'm saying that, I don't want us to lose focus. We can't spend all our time talking about it. Could also be a gimmick. So in as much as we disseminate the information, create the awareness to the point, but let us stick to the focus. The focus is to deliver Obi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chidi. Thank you. Now, I think we have someone who's been here for a very long time, but ND Martins, if you're so kind to turn on your camera, then you can speak after. Okay, ND Martins, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So go ahead now. You haven't spoken. You've been here for a while, and thank you very much for joining us. And for those who just join us now, the topic of what we are discussing, this is the Saturday, the street parliament, and we are discussing obese investment are worthless. These were the words used by the governor of Anambra State. Then the question is Soludo being mischievous, or is he out for a fight? That's what is keeping us busy this evening. And we are taking we are taking inputs. If you're watching us, if you want to join, look at, if you're on YouTube, look at the pinned message on YouTube. You will see the link to join. If you're watching us, you haven't subscribed to this platform, by all means do. And if you're watching us, you haven't liked this stream, please, by all means. Then, ND Martins, your turn.
Okay, thank you so much, Mazel. Okay, this is my first time joining your live, and I really appreciate your work so far. My name is Martins, and I'm from Anambra State. Concerning the topic we are discussing about, is quite unfortunate. Professor Soludo, our dear governor, um, has been a person that I personally like so much, and I have, worked for him. Both the time he first came out as presidential candidate in PDP, and this one that put him in office. And having said that, what pains me most about this whole thing um, is that it's coming from the state, the home state of Mr. Peter B, His Excellency. It pains me a lot. And there is no how someone will tell me that this is something that was overflowed or pushed, because whoever that watched that program will know that he avoided, if he really wanted to avoid that comment, he would have, which he did, but at some point he came back to, visit that particular question, which we all saw what happened the time they interviewed Honorable Ngige, minister, the time he was interviewed in Channels Television about who he is to vote for. We see how he managed that question. Even he was the one that was even thinking that he might say something that, that will kind of look somehow about Tito, considering how their this thing, political career has been back on the days, So I don't really know. I think we need to. This shows that there is still much work to do back home, because this tells a lot. It's more like either political issue or personal issue, which I don't think we are to just avoid it just like this. I think questions need to be asked, both His Excellency, P2B, and the governor. And this is a time where we really need our elders. If it's a place that, our elders back home, especially in that Anambra State, there should be a kind of a town hall meeting or something like that, to actually talk to our people. In as much as Apuga have their own candidate, but at least let's try as much as possible to avoid trying to dent, demonize other candidates.
Do you know the candidate, the name of the candidate of APCA?
I can't really remember, but I know that they have
Exactly.
presidential
So have you seen him in giving interview anywhere and what he can do?
That is the issue. That is what I'm saying.
Has
I can't
anybody
really say
invited
that.
him to any presidential debate? I beg, let's, that's very inconsequential.
No,
Anyway,
but
just round up. Let's
in
take
this kind
one
of
or two people will round up.
in this situation, we cannot actually pinpoint what the problem is all about, because it shows that there is problem and it needs to be sorted out for us to get to where we are planning to get to. That is just my submission. It's really bad. It's really bad. And we
Thank you.
need to do something about it. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So now that you have spoken, let me check Emenike. Emenike, go ahead. Godwin, please mute yourself. Emenike, go ahead. If you're in a noisy environment, please mute yourself. Emenike, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Emenike, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Mazi. And Good day, all. I really like the topic that we are discussing today because it's something that I have anticipated that Mr. Soludo would somehow try to betray His Excellency, Mr. P2B. I have been following his comments, starting from the time Mr. P2B visited Mr. Soludo as he was visiting other state governors. So I was careful to see his answer as he was asked, how is he seeing the candidacy of Mr. P2B if he's going to support him? It was so sad on that moment that he said that Abga has his own candidate that is also vying for the presidency. But at that moment, I knew that something more sinister is still going to come up. So I think the Labour Party family is also taking notice of some of these governors and also knowing how to respond to them. I know that also it's very important that they are building a very formidable team that would handle such incidences that are still going to come up, because this is just one of the things that they are going to be expecting building up to this to the election that is coming up. So I'm expecting that they always have, anticipate, and also prepare a response to follow all these things up once it comes up, because it is not going to end here. We are still going to be seeing some of these situations. And also there is another question or something that whenever these questions are being asked to the Labour Party family, they seem to be very confused on how to answer them. This is the issue of the IPOB. I think they should begin to digest this question to normal family conflict, because in any family you have a conflict, be it the father, be it the mother, be it the children. So if the Labour family cannot be able to digest this issue to a family conflict as it concerns to Nigeria as a whole, then it will continue to be a very difficult question to answer. Then another point that I would like to make before leaving for other people to speak is when His Excellency is speaking, he is talking about the security situation in Nigeria. I would like to see him to narrow it down to the common people, the artisans, the traders, those people that are handling
Sorry,
their
let's not
businesses
deviate from the
every day.
topic,
It should
please.
not just be for international investors or those people that are
Sorry.
coming in
Let's
monies to
not
invest in
deviate
Nigeria.
from
He should tell the
topic,
people
please.
that if you have to close your shop by 4 o'clock because you're afraid to stay in your shop till 7 p.m. to do your normal businesses, the security situation in Nigeria is still going to affect you.
Thank you very much.
He should
Thank
be
you.
able to narrow
Thank
all
you
his
very much. So
plans
let's
down
take
to
another
the common
person.
man, so that people will assimilate it and know that in one way or the other, these things are going to affect me. That means the change that
Thank
is
you
going
very
to
much.
come
Let's take another
is
person.
going
Thank
to
you.
make it easier for me to live my normal life. So it should not be just for the farmers. It should not just be for the big investors.
Thank you very much.
It should also be for the people.
Sorry, Emenike, I don't know if your mic was not working or whatever, but Chuks Obibeze, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mazi.
Please, can we make it? We are rounding up now. Can we make it max 2, please? 2 minutes, please, so that we'll take our closing remarks in 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you, Mazi, for giving me this opportunity. Good evening, fellow panelists and everybody watching us.
Hello.
Yes, please let Chooks continue, please.
Can you hear me now?
No, let Chooks continue, please. Chooks, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I was very much disappointed with the comment of Professor Soludo. He's my governor, and I supported him right from the time he put in for the governorship. And during the interview, when I knew that he is not gonna at least protect himself and Mr. Peter Obi when they asked him, if he is following the footstep of Obi, the destiny he has put down, the foundation he has laid down, and he said he's not. I know he was going somewhere, and it was kind of disheartening to me when I listened to him says that the investment worth nothing. I was expecting the journalist to ask him, the person that made that investment, what action did he take, to mitigate whatever damage that would have come? Investing is not a bad thing. For example, I think 2006, I invested in a stock in Nigeria. By the time 2008 came around, I lost a huge amount of money, So I did not, see it coming. If I saw it coming, I would have taken action. So I was expecting the journalist himself to ask him that question. The person that made that investment, obviously, you see how much dollar is to Naira today. Was that the same when he invested that money? So all these things, the companies are losing money.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, all these things are why I am very, very much angry when he answered in that way. And like somebody who spoke from what he said, it is all about personal ambition, and that is it. Because he knew that if Peter Obi gets there, it will be hard for an Igbo man to come, as Nigeria is turn by turn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's take Godwin. After Godwin, Rufus. Then we round up with our 1 minute closing remarks. Go ahead, Godwin.
Yeah, thank you, Mazi, and thank you, everyone. I'm not too worried. You know why? Because the statistics are there for to analyze or to fact check what Obi had done. So based on that, I'm not worried, honestly. When ranging from security, ranging from education, the statistics are there of what Obi did. Now, I think it's a human factor. If we could recall when Obama was trying to come out to become the president of America, Jesse Jackson wasn't happy at all. He was not happy because of what? I guess attention is being taken away from him. His attitude in terms of all the whole struggle Black Americans are facing in America. So he felt, that is my own analysis. I'm not saying that is what he has in mind for discrediting Obama. But we can see that time and time again. Even it's not even Soludo alone. The 5 governors in the East, you can imagine. So I think it's a human factor. But for me, I am not worried because the statistics are there. Somebody from LP had already punctured Soludo well. So I'm fine. You can go ahead and say whatever you want to say. The records are there. And another point I want to raise, I know, Mazi, if you permit me, yesterday when I want to make a plea, if you can permit me, is based on yesterday topic about Bola Tinubu. I won't take much of your time, just to clarify something. Emeka Ugwuonye had been debarred in America,
and also in Nigeria. So my point is we should be careful who we bring in, because opponent party can use it to puncture us. So just to let you know, he had been debarred in America. He has no good record.
And so what? The debarment, does that wipe away his legal knowledge? Does that remove his
No. I'm just
someone who represented Nigerian government in the US for over 10 years. He has the, so whatever other legal issues he has doesn't remove. I understand where you're coming from, but again,
yeah.
it doesn't.
Just for enemies to use it to say, "Oh, look at the person we
My
brought
dear,
up."
on this platform, I invited. If you give me the number of Shaka, I will invite him here and sit him down and interview him. So make
Okay.
after the interview, make that, decide what you do with that. But my own is to seek for people and ask questions and get clarifications. Anyway, so but just round up quickly, please.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm done. So I'm not worried about what Soludo is saying because the facts are there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Rudolph, please.
Thank you, Maz. So, Mr. Godwin, already said a few things that I wanted to say earlier. When he said, no matter what was it called, Soludo, no matter what he says today, it will not even take away one vote from Peter Obi. Rather, it will bring in more votes. The only thing, I will be swift here. The only thing, did Peter Obi make any investment? Yes. Is Peter Obi the president of Nigeria, running Nigeria now, after he has made the investment? No. The problem is this: we keep electing people, that has not built anything over the years. Look at Muhammad Buhari. At least, I can remember back in the day as a military officer, he was kicked out of, he was, what's it called? When they did Q, they when you ask, a few stories that I heard, they were angry because he could not provide, leadership and, things that Nigerians needed. That's why they kicked him out. And come 2015, we elected the man. So it's not Peter Obi's fault that they, let's, what's his name? Soludo, tell us how much exactly those investments worth. Let him come out and tell us what did Peter Obi invest in, and how much Peter Obi was in the office. He did not borrow a dime for 8 years. He did not borrow any money. He did not owe contractors. He did not all these things. And when he was leaving, he left huge amount of Benjamins. When I mean Benjamins, people from America knows what Benjamins mean. He left a lot of dollars. He left, in Nigerian banks. He didn't take it overseas. Okay, when the next governor came, which is called Obiano, what did he do with those money? What exactly did he do? Maz, you were here. I remember when you were asking one of his, what's it called, Sidon, how much the airport cost, Ndanambra, to build. He was not able to give you that answer still today. He went and, Obiano squandered the money and went to America and be showing us pictures of him drinking Aki Oyibo. So there is nothing Soludo can say today that will take away a vote from Peter Obi's destiny. At the same time, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, people, I think that's the much we can take for many of us. I know also that some of us are just joining us as well. And we have those also in the back room without their cameras turned on. Now, we must all go to bed. But before we do, we would give, please help me here to help you. We will be rounding up within the next 10, 12 minutes. Now, we would do 1 minute. I know that's the most difficult part of being a Nigerian is to stick to time. But let's try. 1 minute each person. I will start with Bennett, please. That's your summary.
Okay, thank you so much. One thing I just realized I didn't really give an idea of my background. I just heard that you were in Germany. Actually, I did stay in Germany for 22 years. Just relocated to UK. My last stay was in Frankfurt, so that's short my background. And then um, I'm also an evangelist. I just you might hear me talk about the spiritual aspect of things that are going on. That is just a little bit about my background. But most important is what you said. I want to conclude on what you said when you introduced this program before you let us in. Soludo has opened a can of worm, and he has to bring it to an end. We know that when Obiano left office, we know he was arrested at the airport by the EFCC. So Soludo owes the whole Anambra state the duty of working with EFCC to produce a balance sheet of Obiano's government. A balance sheet so that we understand the investments that were left by P2B and what he did with it and what was left, so that when Soludo is talking, he should be empirical. He's a man. He's he was a former
Anyway,
CBN governor. What he said last time, on this interview, it doesn't represent his.
thank you very much. It's a 1 minute, but you didn't stick to it, but it's fine. Let's it's good to know that you also lived in Germany. I was in Bremen. I went to uni there, but let me bring in okay in. But before I do that, please let's just stick to because we're rounding up again, so that will make it much easier for us. Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. What I wanted to say is that anything that Soludo said doesn't mean anything to me, because Obi is gonna win, regardless.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very swift. Then I take Fidelis Obi, please. Fidelis, straight to the point.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mazi. So please, I just want to remind us that nobody should try to compare the situation in Lagos and the situation in Anambra. Remember, Lagos has been a one-party rule for more than 20 years. And so when it's one party, they will sit on top of their iniquities and stuff. So that is a party issue. So Anambra has been from Abga, one person left and went to another party and stuff. So there are some differences. And then when we see Professor Soludo defending somebody, like talking good of someone who left him with debt, instead of someone who left surplus to the person who left him with debt, you must know that there's politics to play here. And Soludo should not be singled out as as singled out as the Judas, because that's the way I look at it. There are a lot of them. You see Wike going around and complaining and stuff like that, talking about equity. If Wike was somebody who supported equity, he could have supported someone to come from Southeast for the PDP ticket. So he wanted it for himself when he know that Nigerians know that somebody from the South has been there before. So there's no equity. So the region, the South itself, is just not united. They always use it against us here. And then just to close, I can't remember. I rarely hear Atiku and his surrogates talking about Buhari by name. They don't speak about Buhari. No matter what, despite Atiku is a PDP man, they speak about APC, not Buhari, despite everything that have been decimated in Nigeria. You don't see them single out Buhari. They still have that sacred brotherhood within themselves, regardless of where you belong. It's only in our side where everybody will bring the ambition and then they try to destroy their brother. Having said that, the good news is everybody knows that P2B will be our next commander-in-chief. So Soludo to continue the marketing is doing him more good instead of harm. Thank you, Mazi.
Thank you very much. Walter, please. Can we stick to time, guys?
They speak about APC, not Buhari. Despite all everything that has been decimated in Nigeria, we don't see them single out.
Sorry, please mute yourself, or else you'll be taken off, please.
Hello. Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Walter, go ahead.
I just want to say, who God has blessed, no man can curse. Shehu knew all what Obi did in Anambra. He just want to get a confirmation from somebody who is holding that position and to market Obi more, to say what Obi said, go and verify. Somebody who is there, a former CBN boss, knew everything and he has confirmed it. But Soludo just thrown that opportunity away. So he did more harm to himself than Obi. Who God has blessed, no man can curse. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Walter. I think in our conclusion, let's actually look at something. Was it that, why are people actually angry? Is it that Soludo spoke truth and people are angry, or that the facts were distorted? That is, that I think we must make that, we must make that distinction, because if there is no way the investment will be zero or worthless. I mean, that is a fact. So if the investments are not worthless, the why say that they are worthless? Because to many, it means he's not saying it the way it is. That's actually what probably gets some people slightly worked up. So I think we'll have somebody join us. MIE, please, if you may. We are rounding up now, but let's take your view. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Good evening. I'm from making this call from UK. Thank you for letting me in. I've been trying to get in all along. My one will be very short, like I know you're rounding up. Yes, Toledo is just distorting the fact for obvious reasons, his own political ambition. But at the same time, what I would like us to bear in mind too, as us pushing up Obi's project, we should remember the news, whatever is making news in Nigeria, Obedience are always setting the news. They control the narrative, especially in the internet space. So whenever news like this that is coming to take our focus away from, because what should have been the news should have been Tinubu and his drug-related issues. It's like we've taken, just like what Donald Trump was doing those days. Once any issue comes to him, he just bring another tweet and change the narrative. We should bring back the focus, because this is really not a non-issue for as far as Obi is concerned, because there is nothing they could actually find wrong with Obi. They're just looking for something, throwing everything to find out if something will stick. Because this is not sticking, we shouldn't give it more attention, but rather shift back the focus to where we want the news to be, which is Tinubu and his drug issues. Toledo is going nowhere with all this narrative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very sticking to the point. Thank you. Thank you. Ugo Beke, please. Round up.
Okay. Yes, I think one takeaway from this is, well, or two. One is this: we cannot dismiss. We cannot just say this is a non-issue. When an opponent comes, you hit the person, and the person can no longer rise. That is politics. You can't just let it slide. It doesn't slide, because there are those who are going to use it and run with it. And flat out, Soludo lied. Distortion of fact is when you say something is not exactly as it is. When you say it is worthless, that is a lie. And that is almost 8 years after this guy, 9 years after this guy had left office. And Obiano was in charge. If there's any routine going wrong with investment, his officers could have actually asked him to either redirect or divest from whatever company that was invested in. Soludo has been in government for 9 months. He could have divested even before the recent crashes in stock market and all that. He knew all this. And he said he's the investment guy. So for him to actually come, he's not done anything and he doesn't know. You understand what I mean? That was a flat out lie. And that guy doesn't need to be taken serious in Igbo land, unless he proves himself. And he can only prove himself by actually making Anambra better. Until then, he cannot be compared with Obi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That many people are agreeing that is an outright lie. That's very interesting. So we'll take Rufus once more. Your closing remark, please. Stay within the 1 minute range.
Yeah. Mazi, like I said earlier, no matter what Soludo says, it will never take away any vote. Rather, it will add more. You see what happened in Benin yesterday. So Soludo lied. Let him come out and tell the Anambrarians and Nigerians at large how much exactly are those investments worth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Straight to the point. I mean, you will keep hitting it. We need to know how much those investments are worth. Godwin, please, your last words.
Okay.
Godwin, please.
Yeah. What I want to say is this. There is nothing to measure between Obi and Soludo. Obi, what he has done, like I said earlier, is there. For Soludo, there is nothing to measure. So that is why, like I said, I'm not worried. But I know at the end of the day, I believe in karma. This thing that is happening now, it will one day come up, and he will have himself to be blamed. I mean,
Thank you.
Soludo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chooks. And I think Bitcoin, you can also do your 1 minute afterwards. Ndubisi, go ahead, 1 minute. So, Chooks, go ahead.
Okay, thank you once again. I think everybody have said everything. You know, the only solution here is for us to focus. You know, we have made everybody aware that he's a liar. You know, like the last speaker said, one day he will wake up and we will remind him of this day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ndubisi, are you there? And Bitcoin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, but I don't know why my camera is not coming on.
I don't know. You did it the last time. You better check it out.
Let me try this.
Which browser are you using?
It's Chrome.
Next time, try Safari or Firefox. I don't know.
Oh, okay, next time. But I'm just glad that I actually got.
Go ahead. Your 1 minute.
Okay. To be honest, when I watched the interview on channels, as in something inside me died. As far as I'm concerned, Soludo, even if he goes and does a governor for 8 years and he does exceedingly well, this thing that he has done would taint him for the rest of his life. As in, that's all I have to say, to be honest.
Okay, thank you very much. Then Emenike, please unmute and your Emenike, it appears you're logged on with multiple browsers. Please, if you can close them quickly down, then because there is echo coming from you. Sorry, Emenike is not working out with you. So, gentlemen, Emenike, please try again. If it's not working out, then we do without you. Okay, sorry, it's not working out. Now, gentlemen, okay, I think I have Uchechukwu who hasn't actually. Can you put up your closing remark, please, Uchechukwu?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mazi. Thank you, everybody. Well, like everybody has just said, Okute. In fact, before the chiefs in Anambra State made him, gave him the title Okute, we have already started calling him Okute in Anambra State. There's no other person that can rule Nigeria and bring us out from where we are now, but Peter Obi. And let us not be discouraged. Soludo is jealous, but he has failed. I tell you the truth, that man is going to be the one-time governor. In fact, after saying this thing, I don't think he'll have peace again in Anambra State. I'm telling you that because it's crazy. Nobody in Anambra State will not testify of what P2B did. I was there as a businessman during the time of Ngige. I almost got robbed in Anambra State, but this guy came in, he cleaned up Opiweka. I lived in Anambra State, I lived in Onitsha. We lived at Springfield Academy is owned by my niece. P2B came to that school, or even uninvited, he just walked in. Everyone was just surprised. I happened to be there that day. This man wants everything working, and this guy came out to just speak nonsense. He's very lucky.
Anyway, thank
Anyway,
you very much. I believe, gentlemen, I must thank all of us. We've been able to keep our emotions in check while sticking to facts, in the most instances. But we do have someone in the back room, not with camera on, by name Okay. Okay, are you there? Are you able to round up in 1 minute? Okay, again, appears to be having issues again. So, people, I think in rounding up, I have the following to say. As I started, there are questions that must preoccupy our minds as in Anambra and as concerned Nigerian citizens. We must begin to ask questions, especially when it comes to financial prudence, to those that will have wielded our rights in this social contract to lord it over us, quote unquote. We must begin to ask these questions as to where are our investments in Anambra State. If these investments, so quote unquote, if they are worthless, then the question that we must demand from Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo and the Anambra State government is, was it lost? If not, was it sold? If yes, for how much and when? Do we, from all these investments, have any return on investment? Or do we have return on equity? If yes, how much? We must then also demand that we know the current record of all investments. We use the opportunity to also call on all lawyers, especially human rights lawyers, to basically begin to demand freedom of information to say, can we have this investment tabulated and outlined? Did our investment go wrong? Did we invest in the wrong investment? These are questions that must bug us, and these are questions begging for answers. Did our investment go wrong? If all these things are not clarified, and if they are still hazy, some may now want to add the last one. Is this a case of jealousy, or it is a case of witch hunt? People, it has been my pleasure to be your host this evening. As always, I am grateful for every one of you and for your time that you have spent here. This platform do appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to this platform, by all means do. If you haven't shared and liked this stream, by all means do. That is the only way we can get this information to more people. Those of you who say that we are belaboring this issue, that we should, we shouldn't talk about it more, that we should concentrate on the Tinubu, you cannot be that you talk about something else. Yesterday, for instance, we had an extensive conversation around the Tinubu saga, both on Twitter, both on Spaces. But it would also be foolish that something comes up like in this manner and you just keep quiet. Because if you do not correct false narrative, whatever is left in the public space becomes the narrative. There is need to debunk, there is need to clarify, and there is also need to do minor violence. You can add some petrol and some pepper. You may be getting home. On that note, I say thank you, every one of you, for being my guest. And as usual, I say good night to every one of us.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Auf Wiedersehen.